Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of creating a web browser. In this part what we're going to do is we're just going to be adding in the favorites section. So let's show you guys what we've got so far. And I think this is just about table view. Oh, I guess not. But basically this is what we have so far. So if I search up RSK, actually let's search up something different. Let's just search up how to use a time picker in Swift. And you'll see here's my video. Anyway, so this is the Google page and you can see that it's looking quite nice, our web browser. And now what I'm going to do is when we click this favorites button, we want it to bring us to this page, and actually no, here it's just going to give us an alert asking if we want to add it to favorites. If it does, then we're just going to add it over here, and then click on this page and select the favorites, and it'll go back here and it'll start loading that page. So pretty simple. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to I'm going to just fix this issue. I'll just do that, and now what I'm going to do is add in an action, so that here add this action, and we'll just call it add to favorites. And we're also going to make a new Swift file called data class or data file, and this is just going to hold all our data. So we're going to have a variable called favorites, which is just going to be an array of URLs, and we're also going to have a variable called current page, which is a URL, and we'll just set it to a basic URL, so https ://www.google google.com. That's just going to be our basic URL. And yeah, so every time we search something up, let's set the current URL. Oh, did I call it current? I called it current page. Let me just unwrap that real quick. Oh, why is it still failed? Oh yeah, I think I called it current page. Oh my god, what did I just do? Okay, let's just copy that, and we'll just set the current page to the URL which we just loaded here. Okay, so once we've done that, we can just give the user an alert, which is going to be UI alert controller title. Do you want to add this page to favorites? And we'll just leave the message blank. And actually what I can do is add this as the message, put that in there, and for the title we'll just call it favorites. And for preferred style, I'll set it as an alert. Now we have to add an action, UI alert action yes, style dot default, and for handler we'll just add a handler. So if the user selects yes, we'll append it to favorites, so favorites dot append new element current page. And let's add another action. This is just going to be for no, going to be style cancel, and no handler since it's not going to do anything. And now what we can do is we just need to present this alert, animated true, completion nil. Okay, so that should be it. Now the next thing we want to do is, once we add this, that's fine, but if a user wants to actually see that favorites, they're going to have to go to the favorites controller, and we have to configure this table view. So let's create, actually wait, I'll show you guys what I mean by this, because it might be a bit confusing if you can't really understand it. So if we click search up something, search that up, and if we want to add this page to favorites, let's select yes or no. It's not really going to matter, but if user selects yes, we want to be able to go to our favorites page over here and see it. So you have to configure this table view which we have. So extension favorites controller UI table view delegate UI table view data source number of rows in section, return favorites.count, and cell for row at, create the cell, let cell equals table view, oh, why can I not type, dot dequeue reusable cell. And I created this all in my first part where we created the URL, where I created the UI. So you can see I just have my cell here, and it's just a basic cell, nothing fancy. So yeah, and now let's just set the cell.text label. Cell.text label. Why was it depreciated? What? That's weird. But I just use it anyway, so I think it should still work. Text is equal to favorites index path dot row and dot absolute string, so we can actually just get the actual URL. Now let's just return this cell. Alright, so let's test this now. Let's build it and let's search something up. So actually what I can do is, since the current page is by default Google, I guess what I could do is when the view loads, we'll just copy all of this and I can just add that in there, but instead of this, instead of that, we'll just set it to current page, and now it's just going to load Google when it first comes in. So that should, yep, there it is. Okay, so let's say we want to add this page to favorites. Click yes over there. If we go to favorites, oh, I know what we forgot to do. We forgot to set the table views delegate and data source to self. I always forget those. So delegate is equal to self and data source equal to self. So yeah, let's try this again. Oh, oops. Try this again. So we have our page, and let's click yes. If we go to our favorites, we have it here. Okay, that's good. So once we have it here, all we have to do is we have to handle when the user clicks it. So let's create a new function, selected, oh no, did select row at, and let's get the URL which the person selected. So let selected URL is equal to, actually what we can do is we can just set the current page as equal to the URL, favorites controller, oops, not favorites controller, favorites index path dot row, and that will give us the current page. And then what we have to do is we just have to switch it back to the this tab in the tab bar. So to do that, it's a bit complicated, but it's also quite easy. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a new file, which is going to be a tab bar controller, and we're going to assign that UI tab bar controller, and we're just going to assign that to our tab bar, and then we're going to call a what's it called, notification, which will, every time this is clicked, every time the user selects something, it's going to switch it back to the web view. So to do this, let's first assign this tab bar controller to the same one, like that. And now let's add a notification observer when we launch this. Notification center .default .add observer, and let's just go here. So we also have to add an Objective-C function, switch to web view, and the observer is self, the selector is selector switch, oh, it's not a valid function yet, that's why. Switch to web view, I believe, oh, whoops, okay, and now the name, we're going to have notification dot name, and let's just call this switch to web view, and object is nil. Okay, so now in this one, let's just print switched, and in our favorites, let's go here and let's post this notification. default.post notification.name object nil. So let's try this now. We should just get it printed when we click something here. So if we add this page, what is it? Add this page here, go to our favorites, select it there, and okay, yeah, that's working fine. So now in the tab bar controller, all we have to do is we just do self.selected index is equal to 0, since the web view is the first item in the tab bar, so it'll just switch back. And let's try this again now, just see if this is working all fine. Add this there, click on this, and yeah, looking good, looking good. Okay, so now all we have to do is, I don't know if this gets triggered when we switch back. Let's just see. Switched. Let's print it here. I'm not actually sure if it does, but if it does, that's good for us, because then we don't have to create a new function. So if we just, let me add it in. Oh, okay, wait, I think this is working then. Oh, did I click? No. Yeah. Okay. Oh, why is it not working? Yes. And then maybe we need to reload the, probably we need to reload it. View did load, tail view dot reload data. Maybe that was the issue. Okay, so we'll add it there, favorites, okay, and then we'll click this, and okay, so it appears it doesn't, which means we have to use a view did appear function, but that's fine. So first, this isn't for the actual thing, this is just so it reloads the data every time we appear here. So super dot view did appear, and let's reload the data there. Animated, reload it there, and let's do the same thing in here. So if I copy this over to there, and we'll just load it in there, copy all of that, and paste that in over there. Okay, so let's test this again. Now whenever this view appears, it should reload the data we have. So let's click favorites, and I'll go over here, and hang on, let's search something else up here. So RSK coding, let's search that up here, add this to favorites as well, and now we have 2. So if I click Google, okay, so this seems to be working perfectly. Okay, so now that's about it actually. So this is a basic web browser which we've just created. You know, it's not very fancy and all that, but it works fine. So if you want to search anything up here, let's say you wanted to learn, I don't know, how to use a color picker in Swift. We can search that up, and let's see if I can find my video. Probably not, but you know, it's fine. So if we search this up here, and now let me just actually show you. Oops. So let's use the actual keyboard. Let's search up Swift programming, like that. Click search, looks fine. Now we can add this to favorites, and boom, it's working. So I guess one thing you could do is, in the data file, you could make favorites a user default so that it saves, but we aren't going to do that this time. This was just a basic tutorial so that you guys could create a small web browser in your app, and also we could switch these around, but I'm pretty sure if it's a cancel button it always has to go first, so might have to change that around. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a future tutorial. This was how you create a basic web browser in Swift.